So welcome to Victory and Progress, the podcast again. I am Sam Flowers, your host, along with my co-host.
Colin Roper, how you doing?
And as you've seen the first episode, this is about just putting entrepreneurs on the spotlight and giving them a platform not to only promote their business, but only to tell us some insight on what it takes to succeed.
Our first guest is the owner of Nutrite, which sells a bunch of nutrition products, shakes, and also some of the tastiest meals and helps people get on their correct health of mind and body. I have here Bella Mencia.
Hi guys.
Hi, Bella. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure for you guys to have me here.
So, why don't you first start telling us about Nutrite? Did I say it right?
It's pronounced Nutrify.
Okay.
It came from I'm Latina, and in Spanish, fe means faith, so it's nutrition faith.
Okay.
So faith and nutrition. And we started out after my mom had a heavy divorce, and she lost over 60 pounds. And it was her and I that decided to start this business, helping people to get back on their life track, whether it be nutrition. We help people that have diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, etc., and we help to regulate them and create a nutritious lifestyle path.
That's great. Wow. What a touching story, honestly. Oof.
Very different too. You don't hear a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, it's our passion to help people, and it's the same thing that helped us. The products we use the Herbalife products, and they worked really well for us. I have an older brother. He suffers from psoriasis, which is like a chronic illness, and through keeping a nutritious diet and maintaining himself with the products that we use, his skin is basically pretty much cleared up.
Hey,
Hmm.
wow. You see, we're getting some good wins on this day, with everything being so sad and dreary, you need something to make us smile. Thank you for that.
No problem.
So I want to know, so because I've been wondering this for a while now, is it only a one store kind of thing, or is there multiple locations for NutriLife?
Well, our first store we opened in Dover, and we
Mm.
just opened a second store over in Newton, close to Sparta.
Oh,
Uh, that store features a fitness area as well, where we also have personal training and general Zumba classes slash general exercise classes.
Okay.
hey.
That's dope.
Yes. It's a family business, and so we're able to provide as much help for people. Expanding, we want to be able to open our own gym, probably in the same Dover area, and have more personal trainers on our staff.
Okay. So since you said it was a family business, does your family work in both locations?
Correct. My brothers and myself and my mom are usually at the Dover location, and a family friend who's basically like a grandma to us works at the other location. She's been using the products for over 40 years and maintains a healthy, happy life.
I love that.
Herbalife, right. What makes Herbalife different from other products? Like, you have the ones from GNC, you have the ones from Team Beachbody. What makes Herbalife different?
Well, firstly, they're non-GMO products. They offer vegetarian options, and a lot of the times people confuse the products for being like a normal brand. But there's so many different products that could help depending on what you want. There's blood pressure pills. You're talking pills for men who aren't able to even get it up. Things like that. Things that aren't normally like advertised in other nutrition companies. Moreover, what's very special about it is that Herbalife is such a big business expanding over multiple countries. and therefore they make their own products out of their own facilities and hire their own workers, providing opportunity for lower income families to get jobs at their factories, etc. And they make it their priority to give these types of people jobs at their factories.
Touched by that. I really am. You don't always see these big companies having such a small impact, and they're looking for the smaller people in these communities. It's really rare. Like you don't see Kellogg doing things like that. I'm
Right.
No,
touched.
you really don't.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, what has motivated you to want to do this with your family?
Well, honestly, I have lost over 35 pounds. I was pre diabetic at this point, and I was going through really bad depression. And when I started my workout slash healthy eating lifestyle, I didn't think that my lifestyle would be something that I could turn into my passion and thus my income. And so, being able to help other people has really motivated us to stay on track. I mostly deal with young girls ranging from the age of 12 to 22 and deal with body dysmorphia, which is something I have, and helping them to get on a lifestyle path that's going to help them create a beautiful image that's within their own bodies while promoting a healthy lifestyle that they can maintain.
Okay. So it's kind of sounding like you kind of want to teach. So is it like, would do you want to have like your own classes for that?
Well, I already teach my own Zumba classes and I do personal one on one nutrition courses. My major in college is actually business, but I minor in nutrition. So once I'm certified and everything, I want to start implementing that throughout.
That's good.
Yes.
Pretty cool. Maybe she should drop in one of the classes. Go stop by, get a Zumba on. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah,
Mm,
they're lots of fun.
mm, When's going to be your next Zumba class?
Right now, because the majority of my Zumba clients are in school and they're starting softball, and I've encouraged them to join extracurricular activities. I'm on call when they tell me, "Hey, I have time today." I'll be like, "Okay, let's start a
Ah,
class." So there's not a set schedule yet because I deal with people that I've worked with and are my personal clients. I'm there on call for them.
Okay. And are these classes like on Zoom or in person?
Well, I stream them on Facebook Live if I have one, but I also do in-person class where they're socially distant and will be wearing their mask.
Okay.
nice. Like for Nutrive, what do you say like are your main goals of the company?
I think that for us, it's very important to expand. We're looking into opening possibly a third shop in Morristown within the next 2 years. I'll be taking over the Dover one, and my mother will be moving on to the Morristown one. The second goal is maybe move across state lines. We are already looking into a fourth shop in Connecticut that could potentially be happening within the next 10 years. So basically expand and create the brand that we have and further put it out there so people have more access to this. A lot of the times are very like our main goal is to be in lower communities where people don't have access to healthcare, etc. And even though we're not doctors, a lot of the times the complaint we get is that they'll go to their doctors and all their doctors will say is, "Hey, you're fat, you need to lose weight." And that fat phobic comment can later impact lives in a negative way, and it causes women especially to start starving themselves and create eating disorder within themselves. So to us it's very important to foster a health community.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely like that. That was a great response.
I'm almost at like I had a loss of words. It's like amazing that it's almost feels like philanthropic, like how you're just going out of your way to help these people. It really does.
It's
Abs-
honestly a dream to be able to turn something that started off as like, hey, I just want to take care of myself, into a passion that later on takes care of others.
Right. I also think it's very important as well, only because I'm gonna touch back on the comment that you made about doctors, or just like people making comments like that in general, because a lot of people don't know how people feel about their bodies and how they weigh, and it's just like you just gotta watch out for what you say to certain people, not to certain people, just to everybody, because you don't know how people are gonna take things, and especially how they feel about themselves. We always want to try to uplift people, and I feel like that is what your company is based on, and I really like that.
Yeah, ultimately, the fitness industry is piled on with a lot of fake advertising. You'll see people putting in butt pads, etc., things like that,
Right.
to look the way that they look, even though they already look beautiful. They're accentuating areas that would only be cosmetically possible or would take years to get to that level, and making it seem like this is a magic product. And one of our main things is, I do not sell clothes products to people that think that way, because then they'll think, oh, this is going to help me do that. And I always tell them, if you don't have the lifestyle, if you don't have the ability to maintain it and do that, you're not going to do that. It's not going to work. You can't starve yourself. I don't promote that. I don't promote any of that. As someone that suffers from body dysmorphia, it's always been very important to me to let people know that some of these expectations you see on Instagram, they're just not achievable. There's filters, there's everything.
Yeah, it's not reality.
Yes.
Never is. I saw one time there was this promoter who was saying how she got her body completely made in the gym and you just need to buy her workout program. But turns out she got a BBL.
And while
Mm-hmm.
I don't shame women for getting BBLs, I don't what I do shame is women who promote themselves to be natural while on the
Mm-hmm.
backslide doing cosmetic procedures and making
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially little girls think, hey, this is achievable
Right.
without this. And then not giving the reality of how long it takes to get to a natural body that looks like that, or even understanding that there are some bodies that will never look like that because of their genetics.
Hmm. Definitely not. So, for the next question, I'm going to ask you, what are the challenges that you have faced, especially during the pandemic?
Ooh.
Well, we actually opened our first store during the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Uh, the rent was cheaper, so we were like, let's just go for it. And
Right.
we thought we were gonna have slow business, but it turns out that this area, especially Dover, was screaming for a community center where people could go to and not feel judged. And so one of the main challenges we had is we ended up being understaffed, working long hours because we couldn't at the beginning afford to hire help. So it was just me and my mom going back and forth, and it was just getting too busy. So I found that surprisingly, our challenge wasn't enough people, but rather too many people and
Oh,
not enough staff.
Too many people to account for. Oh wow, you had too much business, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
It's one of those few champagne problems when you just have just an overflow, don't know what to do. Have you thought of like possibly reaching out to hiring people? What if you, for our entrepreneurs listening to this podcast, what would you recommend to them when they're feel like they're overworked?
We've actually managed to hire two new people,
Oh,
but
really?
with opening the second store, we're again a little thin on it, but we're looking into more people as well. However, because of the way that we promote and it being a family business, it's important to us that the person we hire represents the certain attention that we give our clientele, which is not just, hey, have a cup of tea. It's have a cup of tea and have a conversation.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You're not gonna be Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts over here. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Customer service is number one priority when it comes to certain companies.
Yeah, our clients, we call them our Nutri fam because they're like our extended family. We will know our clients could come in like around 3 to 4 times a day, just one client. and they'll come in for food, they'll come in for tea, they'll come in for shake, and they'll be there when they have their free time. Most of our clientele is actually working men who will come during like their breaks, etc. They'll get a tea, they'll get a salad, they'll get whatever, and they like taking care of themselves. And the main complaint is that they don't find that anywhere else. They don't have that conversation because they're single. A lot of men here, especially, their family is overseas, and then they don't have no one to communicate with, so they'll communicate with us.
Okay. It gives people, excuse me, excuse me. It gives people an outlet. I like that.
Yes.
Man. See, somebody was a little choked up by the sentiment. It's really touching when you find out a way where not only you can have profit for your family that needs, but also establish yourself in the community that is crying out, having its own needs. Because it's hard being in an area where there's no sense of like happiness or just unity between people.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just really rough when you just have your working day and out. And where's your sense of peace? Where's your sense of belongingness? That's why a lot of people search for when they get into the corporate world and they realize they don't have a sense of belongingness, and now they're just working for nothing.
Right. And
It's sad.
I also like how it's for men and women and not just for
Mhm,
women.
mhm,
Yeah, I think it was very important to us that it be, now it's turned into people will bring their whole families here for protein waffles, things like that. Um, but in the beginning, it was very important to us to also cater to the same type of woman that when my mom was, which was a single mother, divorced, who went through a toxic relationship and let herself go because she didn't know how to work with it. So the women that come in, they find solace in knowing, hey, this woman went through the same thing I did, but she's getting support from her family, changed her life around. I can do it too.
Period.
And it's that motivation, it's that at the time when we started, my mom always quotes me on this. She was going through the bad divorce, and she asked me, she said, what can I do? And I told her, I was like, you can either stand up or get up, because you have no other options. And it's as simple as that. And it's gotten to the point where whenever a battered woman or anyone comes in and they ask her the same question, she says, I'll tell you what my daughter told me, and it's stand up or get up, because that's all the options you have. And when you go into things with that mentality and you spread that mentality, we were able to, through the contacts that we find through the men that own companies, etc., we were able to find jobs for 4 other women this year who were looking for secretarial positions, cleaning jobs, etc. And they were able to find jobs just through the contacts. It's a great community.
It sure is. And let me ask you, just for people, just so if they don't know or not, what do you mean by get up, stand up?
To me, when I said it to my mom at the time, she was going through a really bad depressive episode. She just didn't want to get out of bed, etc. And she was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to fall down, like I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. And I told her, you have 4 kids. Yeah, they're older, but you don't have the option to lay down every day. You got to stand up or get up, which means get up and go to work, and which means you got to change your life around, which means you just got to do it. And it's like sometimes people don't realize the harsh reality of life is that sometimes it doesn't give you enough space to cope with the things that are happening, and it just has to be a matter of you got to just work through it, and then work through your emotions later on once you're in that place to work through them and have the time for it.
Yep.
So to me, it was very important to be supportive on this journey. And I honestly, when I graduated high school, I didn't know what my purpose was going to be. And I found it. And now just school is like a secondary, like helping me to reinforce the purpose that I have in life right now. Because I've seen firsthand the amount of impact that our little shop has had on people and our little shops now, and what we hope the rest of the shops we open has on people.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So I was wondering for Just see if you had any like little key facts that you would give to anybody who's just trying to start out, whether they wanted just like either a Shopify store or they had some kind of other thing they had to do in the food area. So mainly for people trying to get into foods, what kind of advice you would give or warnings if somebody wanted to become an entrepreneur?
I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, I took a whole social media marketing class. So I
Mhm.
actually help some women that come in here asking for help for their own Shopify stores, and I help them with marketing. But I think the number one mistake that we as entrepreneurs make is thinking that we can do everything by ourselves.
Mm.
Right. I heard that
It's
too.
Yeah, it's that simple because you think, oh, I'm gonna save $400 to do this by myself. I think when we started out, I was convinced that I could make the logo, I could make this, I could make that. And the honest to God truth is there are professionals for a reason, and sometimes it's worth more to pay to have it done than it is to waste your time that you could have put into something else. And then it just doesn't come out the same when you do it if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So my number one tip for people going into it is ask. Just ask, because when you have like the networking, etc., and you know who to come to, who to do this, who to do that, it just becomes so much easier. Before opening our shop, prior to the pandemic, my mom and I had actually opened an event planning business, which was going great, and then the pandemic hit, and we had already had established contacts through there, and had met business owners who had restaurants and had asked for opinions, had asked for tips, had asked for that. And the number one thing that they all said was the same thing: overextending yourself to the point that you're exhausted.
Yep. And I definitely agree with that because I interned at a nail company and one of my boss, she was telling me how she thought she could do everything herself when in reality it's okay to ask for help and you if you need the help then get the help.
Yeah, exactly. I think like, especially as a Latina, I think we're too proud to ask for help sometimes. You're like, oh, I don't need it. I got it on my own. No, you need the help. You need the help because there's a saying my mom has, and it's, if you have two hands and there are five people at the house and only two hands are working, that's two hands working when 10 hands could be. And it's the same concept for work. I think when you
Mhm.
implement that, if you have more hands, it's just easier.
My
Like
dad
I
has his
wouldn't be
own
able to do this interview without the help of the people in the store right now, right behind me, and that's with me working long hours.
Right.
hand. Yeah, many hands make the work go light. That's what my dad always
Exactly.
said. And it's always just once you're able to ask for help and you see how not scary it is and how people don't think less of you because you understand that you need help. It just opportunities begin to overflow. They really do. You just need to let people know that you need help because we can't read minds. We can't see what's really going behind people, what's really going on. So it's really great. It's a really great lesson to understand about asking for help and learning from your mistakes and reaching out.
Mhm.
Speaking of reaching out, you should follow us on IG. We are Victory in Progress, if you didn't know before, and we are on Instagram as at Victory in Progress and using the hashtag.
Yep. So make sure you go follow that. But before we let you go, I want to ask you if there's anything else that you would like to share with us about your company, about your brand,
Bonus
anything.
content.
I mean, you could give us a follow on Instagram at Nutrifay Nutrition. But now since we have two shops, it's changed to Dover Nutrifay and Nutrifay, and you can follow me personally at Bella Mans. Um, you can find us there at any time. DM me if you have any questions. I'm always there. If you have a daughter or anything that needs help and needs like an older sister per se, which is what I call myself to my girls, I'm always free to talk. I think sometimes it's hard for parents to listen to what kids have to say, and it's good to be like, oh, you have a role model to talk to, and that's what I am, and vice versa. My brother to little boys, that's what he is: mentor, and that's what we're looking for, to mentor, to guide. And I think it's very important to guide the next generation into a better tomorrow.
Definitely. And I also like that you're doing this with wait, like what's the age group are you doing this? Is this like open to everybody, anybody, any
It's
ages?
open to everybody. Like if you reach out to me and you're 34 and you need a big sister, I'll be your big sister. Like just because of the way that I am. But I find that sometimes it's mostly like the 12-year-old to like 22
Right.
year olds that haven't like gone through life, etc. You know, and they just need a little like, hey, I need a question about this, I need a question about that, and I'm just here to help. I've taught this girl how to walk in heels, something as simple as that. You know, sometimes it's hard when you have two working parents and things like that. And it's great to have a community. And that's what we are, a community.
It sure is. I asked that because little kids, like younger kids, they're very impressionable. So if they have like that older person, like just not telling them what to do, but like relaying a message, telling them right from wrong, then they tend to listen more.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, honestly. I'm blessed that I'm like the oldest sister, but I have an older brother, but I'm like the oldest sister, which means I'm higher in command when you think about it. And so whenever they need advice, they come to me and they're like, "Hey, I have a question about this," and I can look at things objectively.
Mhm.
Versus parents, they got a discipline. I don't got to discipline nobody.
Right.
I didn't have no kids, and that's what I always tell them. I'm like, oh, I'm an older sister. You could talk to me about whatever you want. You have a question about anything that you don't know about, I'm here, you know? And it's always great to have a safe place to talk to. And it's been really great to do that and to be able to, not only that, on my Instagram, I promote like having a healthy image with your body, doing that, and the reality that comes with the lies that the fitness industry puts out there.
Yep, I believe
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
there's a lot. There's so much. And honestly, you could probably add life coach to your list of responsibilities that you have. Life coach or mentor, because I feel like honestly, like the mentorship part could be a blooming business part of the NutriFit fam or the NutraFit Mind fam or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's very important to us. Our Nutri fam has that. Anywhere they look, they can talk to me, my mom, my brother, anyone that can listen and they feel like they are being heard. We can talk to them and do that, and it's very important to us. I think the message that we overall want to spread is that natural is beautiful, and it's okay to not be perfect.
It sure is. I love that you
Thank
said
you.
that. Right. Thank
Yeah,
you
like
for
by
that.
the way, I just want to say I love your hair.
Thank
Beautiful,
you.
beautiful.
Thank you very much. Well, I was just gonna have to wrap it up because it's almost time to go. But I really just want to say thank you for coming on the show and telling us what you do and telling us how you help people and about your company.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe and be well. Bye.